Story 1. Not that I have this problem anymore, but in my 20s when I was a runner, the downside was having so little insulation. I was always cold straight through fall and winter. Story 2. Every seam in my clothes or wrinkle in my sheets will dig into my hip bones if I lie on my side in bed. When I was extra skinny, it hurt to sit on any chair without a cushion. Honorable mention. People feel super comfortable discussing my weight, presumed health, and what I ought to eat. Story 3. I'm underweight because of health issues, but most people don't know that when they first see me. I get a lot of "you're so tiny" and "how do you stay so skinny?" especially from older women, because they come from a generation where skinny equals good and must be achieved at all costs. I'm not underweight from an eating disorder, but if you all keep commenting on my weight, I'm going to develop one. It screws with my head sometimes, to be honest. If a chair doesn't have enough padding, I am in pain. Also, if the back of the chair is metal or made of a hard material, I feel like I have a bruise on my spine. Bruising easily. There isn't enough padding to protect. I can't take stimulant medication for my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder right now, because it's an appetite suppressant and I can't afford to lose any more weight. Cold all the time. Clothes rarely fit right. I've been denied telehealth psychiatric care due to being underweight and not under the care of a primary care doctor. I just wanted a refill for my antidepressant that they had no problem filling the month before. Story 4. Body shamed every day and being told it's a compliment. Not being able to sit on hard surfaces for long periods. Feeling cold when no one else is. The list goes on. Story 5. For context, I used to weigh over 300 pounds and am about 155 pounds now, 41 years old. So I have some perspective. I lost it naturally. I'm always cold. I used to shovel snow in shorts. When I was losing weight, everyone thought I was sick. I dropped a few pounds recently for rock climbing, and everyone commented about it in a negative way. People assume I don't have to work for it. I hate being called lucky. I can't move furniture like I used to despite being stronger now. I just don't have the mass. Clothes are frustrating. Long sleeve shirts never have sleeves long enough. Pants are usually loose in the seat. Belts are mandatory to keep pants on. Chairs are uncomfortable. I have a long tailbone, and most chairs curve up at the back of the seat. I have to slouch in almost every chair. I don't float anymore. I sink straight to the bottom. Story 6. I remember I fell into a huge depression. I couldn't eat more than a meal a day, and my clothes were falling off of me. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror for months. I remember stating how I want to get better, but it's just so hard, and it makes me even sadder. One of my sisters-in-law commented that maybe I need to get into a depression too so I can lose this weight. At least you're not fat. I felt so invisible then, and it kind of confirmed what I felt, that I was never going to be loved or accepted for me. It seemed that I shouldn't and couldn't talk about my mental state with anyone because at least I'm not fat. Story 7. The comments from people, friends, family, strangers: "You're too skinny. You look unhealthy. You need to eat more." Like you don't know? Like it's a norm to pick on skinny people, but as soon as you pick on overweight people, it's a big no. Story 8. My biggest complaint is how incredibly cold I am now. I lost around 70 pounds over the course of about 6 months, and the winters are difficult now. I get cold so easily, and as someone who used to live for the cold seasons, I now dread them. Story 9. Not being able to sleep without a pillow between your legs because your bony knees keep knocking against each other. Well, being cold is worse, but that's been said. Story 10. This is partially a regional thing, but not being a lot of men's physical preference. The social narrative is that skinny women are the most desirable. But when people say this, they usually don't mean size 2 skinny. They mean size 12 skinny, average build. In my experience, most men actually prefer full-figured bodies, thick thighs, full arms, and big breasts, over Victoria's Secret model bodies, slim thighs, skinny arms, and small breasts. Story 11. Where to begin? Pants are frustrating. I wear 29 by 32 and need a custom-tailored set of jeans. Never found in stores, rarely found online. The worst part: when people wrap their fingers around your wrists saying, "Whoa, I don't do that to you. This is for the tall guys and girls. You ever sneak up on someone so badly they figuratively get startled just by your 130-pound body walking? Get some food in you. I eat for sustained calories, not to savor food. I eat like a snake. Forget you. Being so thin that you slither and slink through crowds and feel so alienated. Like, oh, there's Skeleton Skinwalker McGee doing his thing. Halloween. My costumes are Scarecrow, Skeleton, or Ruler. At least I'm packing a surprise. Only trade-off I know of. Story 12. My rear end hurts sitting on hard chairs and benches due to not having enough padding. It sounds simple, but it is a problem when attending a sports game, any places with benches, or when camping. Story 13. Always body dysmorphia. I need to be thinner, I need to work out more. I know I'm not fat, but I think I am. It influences everything. My diet, my routine, everything to be more skinny. Also, always cold. Story 14. The downplaying and minimization of body shaming when it's not being done to somebody who is overweight are problematic. Skinny people can't even discuss the issues they face without someone who is overweight making it about themselves and treating sympathy for body shaming like a competition. Tell a skinny person to eat a burger, and nobody bats an eye. Tell someone who is overweight to make healthier diet choices, and there will be an uproar calling out for it. The irony is that most of the skinny shaming I have experienced has come from people who are significantly overweight. You would think they, of all people, would sympathize with being shamed for one's body and not want anyone else to feel that way. Instead, they use people who are actually attractive as an outlet for their resentment at not being the beauty standard. It's not my fault society treats people who are overweight poorly. Insulting me won't make you any skinnier. Story 15. They do not make clothes in my size. I think I have found maybe 2 shirts in my entire life that fit me properly. And size 28 by 32 pants are almost non-existent. Story 16. People always think any problem is an eating disorder. I went to the doctor because I kept getting sick and losing weight. They sent me to the nutritionist, who noticed I had brought an iced tea with me that said diet and asked me about it. I said I hadn't noticed, and isn't all tea low calorie? Like, this one wasn't special. It was just a marketing sticker. But in her report of the appointment, she claimed I had an eating disorder, even though she didn't discuss those concerns with me during our appointment. I wrote a strongly worded email to the practice saying, would a person with an eating disorder go to a doctor for help because they don't want to be losing weight? They apologized and sent me to a gastroenterologist instead. Turns out I had celiac disease. Yami. Story 17. No one takes your health problems seriously, and most people, including medical personnel, will just laugh at you because, have you considered eating more? I've been told that since I was a toddler, and I'm so sick and tired of it. You can't complain because people say, you have it too easy, you're privileged, be quiet. My body is a biological failure. I'd give anything to be fat, and yet I literally can't gain weight. Story 18. One downside of being skinny can be people assuming you are weak or unhealthy, even if that is not the case. It can also be tough finding clothes that fit well, as many styles are designed for more average body types. Plus, some might feel self-conscious about their body despite being perfectly healthy. Story 19. The worst part of being skinny when you are young is getting fat when you are old. As a kid, I got all my height early, and it was impossible to find pants that fit. If they fit my height, they were big enough to go around my waist twice. If I bought for my waist, they came up to my knees. Story 20. People being all up in your space. Most people actively avoid touching or getting close to overweight individuals. But as a small person, others constantly want to be all over me. Story 21. Being told you're pretty when you're constantly suffering from dizziness, pain, and cold more easily. But I'm pretty, so I should stay skinny, right? Ugh. And they start this on you at a young age, which makes it all the worse. Story 22. People assumed I didn't know my own portion sizes. I am not super skinny anymore. I'd say I'm average for my frame now. When I was skinnier, people assumed I was taking more food than I could eat if I filled my plate. Then they would act shocked that I'd eat it all. It's crazy that as a child I learned how to portion my food. Story 23. A lot of people comment on your weight. I've been skinny my whole life, and people constantly tell me that I need to eat more or ask me if I have an eating disorder. I hate it. Another issue is clothes. I'm skinny and short and live in a country where there aren't many options for petite girls. Most of the stores have clothes that are either too big or too long or too something, which makes every shopping trip extremely depressing. Story 24. Thin shaming is perfectly okay. It's all right to point out thin people's bodies publicly and make all types of degrading comments, but when you do it to overweight people, it's wrong. Story 25. This is probably going to be a really niche one, but there's a weird thing that happens sometimes where if I go for a run or do heavy cardio, my ears will get unpopped for some reason, and I'll have to spend the next hour popping them consistently to try and get them back into place. I sound weird when I talk because I'm trying to keep my ears popped with the back of my tongue while trying to have a conversation. Apparently, it's something to do with the eustachian tubes, and being skinny increases the likelihood it happens. It's not dangerous or anything, but it's very annoying, and I hate running because of it. Story 26. As one ages, it is quicker to wrinkle and quicker to get a hollow face. I think it was Catherine Deneuve who said, "At a certain age, you have to choose between your face and your ass." Story 27. People treated me like I was a drug addict rather than a teenager with an eating disorder. I was so depressed, and the stupid comments just made it worse. Story 28. Finding flattering clothes is the most common challenge. If you are skinny and tall, you are at a disadvantage. Most fashion or runway clothes are designed for skinny, tall people, while most off-the-rack clothes are for average-sized individuals. As the waistline of the average person continues to grow, it becomes increasingly difficult to find clothes that fit well and are affordable. I think the worst issue is with medical matters. If you are skinny but have a heart problem or something similar, it is often the last thing they consider. Story 29. Babies don't like me holding them as much. It's the non-pillowy chest or sharp shoulders. I once watched a tired baby cousin desperately try to find a comfy way to settle his head on my shoulder when I was carrying him. It was sad. I do try to compensate with awesome rocking skills and singing lullabies. Story 30. Not having an ass. Story 31. People are commenting on how good I look now. I've never been heavier, so to speak, but I have lost weight due to medical issues, and it stabs me in the heart every time I hear I look good. I miss my healthy body. I miss my figure. I miss feeling confident, and it's just a reminder of that. Story 32. Basically, when I was 300 pounds working in a warehouse, I fell through a shelf and landed on my tailbone, breaking it. I did not know this until 30 years later when I lost weight and was 165 pounds. All of a sudden, whenever I try lounging in a chair, I had and still have severe pain because the bone must have healed sticking out, which, when I had the padding, was never an issue. Story 33. When I had more weight, sitting on hard surfaces was a lot easier. Also, good old-fashioned body dysmorphia. Right after I lost my weight, a friend of mine said she liked dad bods because they were soft and comfortable. And she just casually tossed out a sense that somewhat destroyed me. The phrase sex with a skinny guy is like having sex on a sink full of dishes haunted me for years. Then I met a girl who loves grinding on my hips and other bony places, so it's not nearly as bad as it was. It never occurred to me that could be a thing. Story 34. I don't know if it's the worst part, but for some reason, people don't hesitate to point out how skinny you are or how you should eat a hamburger or something. It's quite the weight double standard we face. Story 35. Getting cold easily. Being told you need to eat more, hard to do. Sitting for long periods of time gets sore. Gaining muscle is hard. Society considers it acceptable to be teased for weight and being skinny. Story 36. I'm not really skinny, but as a 5'10" guy who weighs 150 pounds, I'm definitely on the small side. For me, the most frustrating part is never having any power behind anything I need to do, like trying to turn a wrench on a really stuck bolt. Meanwhile, my larger colleagues can throw 300 pounds of force into that wrench like it's nothing. Moving furniture is no problem for bigger guys. I have to put everything I've got into it. Story 37. I was skinny for almost 23 years. For a year and a half, I have been working out and gaining muscle, so here are my top 3 observations as a man. 1. People often tell you to eat more. My mom used to rant about how skinny I was and that I might be underweight, but after every medical appointment, the doctor said I was fine. Clothes won't look as good on you. Overweight people also suffer from this. If someone close to you gets in good shape, the conversation will circle back to, why won't you do it too? Talking about hitting the gym, it's much harder for you to gain muscle. If you are with friends, don't be discouraged to see everyone around you increase their weights and leave you behind. Story 38. Haha. I was waiting for this after I saw the worst part of being fat. For me, it's that I also have tiny boobs, so I look like a child. At least 10 years younger than my age. Also, people assume I wear a size 0. What the heck? Also, skipping periods if I don't eat enough in a month or if I exercise too much, which I know people don't typically care about, but healthy cycles are important. Story 39. People feel very comfortable commenting on your body. They are assuming that they are complimenting you. It is just uncomfortable. If you make any disparaging comments about your own body, everyone is aghast. How dare you not feel confident?